Thank you for joining us today for Cape Chronicle. I'm Audrey Kane. Today we'll be talking about the global recycling marketing changes that are impacting Cape, a Cape Neighborhood Development Initiative, and a new movie coming out from a local director. Our guest, Casey Brunke from the City of Cape Girardeau Public Works Department, is here to talk to us about the recent recycling changes in Cape. City Councilman Dan Presson joins us to discuss the Red Star Neighborhood Revival, and Thomas Magala, editor of 573 Magazine and movie producer, is here today to discuss his film Interviewing Monsters. That's all ahead on Cape Chronicle.
I'm Rudy Tempesta. I'm 92 years old. I fought in World War II. Then I came home, worked for the post office for 70 years. I've been getting Meals on Wheels, and I enjoy it. The most important thing about Meals on Wheels is you meet the people, which to me is fantastic. You need people to keep your brain moving. That's what life is about. It's love and having a conversation with people.
Chronicle. I'm Audrey Kane. Assistant Public Works Director Casey Brunke is here to talk with us about the global recycling changes that are impacting Cape Girardeau. Casey, thanks so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
So this is an interesting topic because so many changes have occurred just in the recycling that Cape has taken on in the past decade. And so I know that you all are putting forth an effort to educate people about the changes that are coming, right?
Correct. Just recently we have started a recycling education campaign effort. We were fortunate enough to receive a small grant from the Southeast Missouri Solid Waste Management District. And so with those dollars paired with some of our city funds, we were able to come up with the education campaign. And the basis of that campaign is really to clean up our single stream recycling. Cape is one of many cities around the country where we offer curbside single stream recycling. Recently, within the past year, most of our recycles are being shipped to China, and most of us are probably familiar with the changes that China has enacted. And prior to this change, they would allow 15% contamination of the materials being shipped to their country. Now it's at a level of 0.5%.
Oh, wow.
So you can see how that drastically changes our recycling stream. And one of the biggest contaminants that we see is the plastic bags, like you receive at any place you go shopping at, really. They're just hard to get out of the recycle stream. They get stuck on paddles, they're hard to get out manually, they're hard to get out electronically or by machines. And so just recently we stopped taking the plastic shopping bags, or any thin type of plastic, not just necessarily shopping bags. A lot of folks will have, let's say, a trash can at their home or in their garage or something where they put their recycles in. And that's lined with a bag, so they can take that out real easily, put it in their car, and either bring it to the recycling center if they choose not to do curbside recycling. So one of the things that we're seeing is, those bags in our recycling stream as well. So we're asking folks, if they bring their materials to our recycling center, don't just throw that bag into the bin anymore. Cut open the bag or untie it and dump everything in, and keep that thin plastic out of our recycling stream.
I did not realize that. Okay, so if you're collecting recyclables, don't do it inside a plastic trash bag.
You can, just don't put that plastic trash bag into the recycling system.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay. And for people who maybe don't do recycling themselves, they don't have that curb service, when you say contaminants, besides those thin plastic bags, what other kind of contaminants would there be?
So some other issues that we see, the plastic bags are the biggest ones, any thin type of plastic, which we don't take any longer. Some of the other contaminants that we see have to do with our plastics, or any type of food container that we recycle. Make sure that it's clean, that you rinse out whatever food is left, residual food that's left in that container. Rinse it out real good, and if you can dry it, great. If not, most time it'll sit for a long enough time to dry out on its own. But make sure that the recyclables that you are throwing in there are clean and hopefully dry. The other thing that we see is, half full, like water bottles. Those cannot be removed from the recycling stream either. Plastics, the water type bottle plastics, Gatorade bottles, those sorts of things, those are sorted via air. They have, when you see these conveyor belts, they have air that comes up through there, and they push those bottles up, and that's how they get those into a separate recycling stream. Well, if it's half full of water, the air does not blow that bottle away,
right.
And so that eventually just ends up in the landfill. So we ask folks that, if you are recycling water bottles, make sure it's empty. It goes back to making sure everything's clean and dry.
And do you leave the lid on, or do you take the lid off?
Preferably the lid off. That makes the bottle even that much lighter so that the air can blow it up and it can get into the proper stream that it needs to. If you leave it on, that's okay too. But the main thing is make sure that it's empty so that it has a chance to get to the right recycling stream that it needs to.
That's interesting, because you don't think about those kinds of things. And for years, I know people were told, oh, well, take the lid off of something, or don't take the lid off of something. But you also brought some easy recycling instructions.
Yes. So what we have here is part of our recycling education campaign. If folks have not seen this flyer already, this is part of our campaign that will be going out in utility billing. So if you receive a paper utility bill from the city, you'll be seeing this flyer probably more than once. We are pushing that out really hard because we want people to see what you can and cannot recycle. We need all consumers to help us clean up our recycling stream. Another part of our campaign is maybe some people have seen our social media posts on our Facebook pages. We had an electronic message board actually at the recycling center for about a month. We're going to be bringing it back also, but we have a mascot for our recycling education campaign.
Cool. Who's that?
Our Public Works, we have a shop cat named Bobby. He helps keep vermin and mice and things down at our shop, and he has agreed, whether he realizes or not, to be our mascot for our recycling campaign. But we have some, fun but hopefully educational things and sayings that we include Bobby in to try to make it fun, but also get our point across that, we really are taking this, trying to clean up our recycling stream seriously, and we need all consumers to help us do that.
Well, and kids can be very vigilant about knowing what's supposed to go in and what's not. So when they look for this in their bill, to make sure that they put it up on the refrigerator so the children can help participate. Well, Casey, it's always great to talk to you, and fantastic to know that we're making every effort here in Cape Girardeau to not only recycle but also to clean up that stream so that everything is accepted when it is shipped overseas.
Yes.
Great to see you again.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
You bet, you bet. We've been talking with Casey Brunke, and after the break, we'll hear from City Councilman Dan Presson. That's next on Cape Chronicle.
Hey, let's check out this park. Oh, wow, that's really cool. To find a great local park or forest near you, go to discovertheforest.org.
I've been delivering Meals on Wheels to Leon for 13 years.
It's always a pleasure to see you.
Leon has definitely inspired me to put more into my relationships. He really cared for his wife, who was ailing for quite a while, in such a touching way that inspired me to be a better person.
Drop off a warm meal and get more than you expect. Volunteer at americaletsdolunch.org.
America, let's do lunch.
Marie, you have prediabetes.
Prediabetes? I don't have time to eat right or exercise. I'm a busy mom.
Oh, you're a busy mom.
Yeah.
This is great news. Busy moms never get prediabetes.
Wait, what?
Let me just Yeah, this is all the people at risk for prediabetes, and way over here, busy moms. No? Whew.
Welcome back to Cape Chronicle. I'm Audrey Kane. City Councilman and Red Star President Dan Presson is here to talk to us about the Red Star Neighborhood Development Initiative. Thanks so much for coming, Dan.
Thank you for having me.
So this is a neighborhood that I think a lot of people may be familiar with, but they may not know what the best parts of Red Star neighborhood are. Before we get to that, though, I want to know a little bit more about you. Tell us about you and your involvement with public service.
Okay. I'm currently the City Council member representing Ward 1, which incorporates the Red Star neighborhood. It also incorporates essentially the part of Cape Girardeau north of North Street all the way to Lexington and then over to parts of the University in Henderson. I've been involved in city governance and been an active member of our city as long as I've been in Cape Girardeau. Before that, I was an active member of my city up in the St. Louis suburbs. So I just feel as though it's a person's duty to be involved with their community, especially if you want to elicit change and you want to have people excited about where you live and the great things that are going on in your community.
So tell us about your neighborhood, because you have to live there in order to represent, correct?
Absolutely.
So tell us about what you think are the most important parts about Red Star neighborhood and maybe some misconceptions.
The Red Star neighborhood is the neighborhood of the city of Cape Girardeau, or in the city of Cape Girardeau, that has so many fantastic opportunities, unabated views of the Mississippi River from a very affordable and attainable housing stock. We have connectivity because we're so close to the university and downtown. We've got a wonderful access to the Riverfront Trail. So there's really some fantastic opportunities, and then hopefully in the future we'll have a Red Star Park in the FEMA flood buyout area. We really have some fantastic options. The Red Star neighborhood is prime for revitalization, and that's why I decided to get involved in the Red Star Revival Organization, because I wanted to see the best for my neighbors. I want to see the best for the community that is there, because it is a wonderful community. It's tight-knit. Kids play basketball in the streets and people walk their dogs, and it's really a fantastic part of the city of Cape to live in.
It's been through some revitalization over the past few years, not quite a decade, but over the past few years, partly because the casino came in and there were some improvements in the roadways there. What are some other things that you're pushing to see change in that area?
We're really, as an organization, we try to put as much pressure on landowners, landlords, housing owners to make sure that they're keeping their properties up. We noticed after a short economic study that the properties in the Red Star neighborhood were actually 15% depressed. The prices and values were 15% depressed in comparison to other neighborhoods in the city of Cape Girardeau. That's a reputational property change. Because of that reputation, those prices were lower. So we started working with homeowners. We started working with landlords to make sure everybody understood the chance that if they turn this neighborhood around, if they work on its reputation and they work on their properties, their chance to actually gain additional return on their investment is incredibly high.
Well, and there in that particular area, you run into some rental properties and things like that. Are you getting, is there pushback from those landlords, or what are you seeing happening with that?
It's not pushback per se. A lot of it's just absence. You know, a lot of landlords own property and they don't live in town. They don't live even in state. And so we just need everybody that is a stakeholder in the neighborhood to understand how important it is for them to be an active participant in the community and make sure that they're renting to people who want to be active participants, but then also for landlords, for them to be actively managing their properties. There
are a number of interesting pieces, you know, historical cemeteries. There's an overlook over the river, and you know, having lived here, there are certain parts of that neighborhood that are absolutely wonderful. There's a great park in that neighborhood. if you pointed out a gem to someone who was coming in from out of town, what would you steer them toward?
I steer everybody to the Red Star boat launch. If you go to the Red Star boat ramp, which is administered by the Missouri Department of Conservation, you have this spectacular view looking south on the river of all of downtown Cape Girardeau and our big, beautiful bridge. It's probably the best view in Cape Girardeau, and it's the best place to go and take pictures. It's a wonderful representation of our city right there in Red Star.
When you moved here, was that your first choice of locations for you to live?
When we moved to the city of Cape Girardeau, we went and found the house that we wanted. We found the house of our dreams, irregardless of what neighborhood it was in, and we found it, and we've been really successful and happy to be a part of the community and to try to bring others into the community. So we've really been working to make sure not only that our property is upkept, but that we kind of push our neighbors to be the best landlords as well.
Those neighbors, do they reach out to you personally and ask you for your input, or to give you their input as to what they want to see as far as changes go to
all
the ward?
Time. We've got wonderfully involved people in our neighborhood, and especially part of the Red Star Neighborhood Revival Organization. We have a core group of attendees that meet at all of our meetings, and they give me feelers on what's going on in the neighborhood. As a city council member, you can't be in every place at all times, but luckily with a support system like I have the ability to hear from all sections of our neighborhood and hear what their concerns are, what their successes are, and how we can have the best path for the future.
Well, it sounds like they've got the best cheerleader elected as their...
trying. I try. So I try as hard as I can to make sure that we're moving not just Red Star, not just Ward 1, but the entire city of Cape Girardeau forward. We have an incredible community. We have incredible opportunities and options for the future, and I'm really excited to see where the city of Cape Girardeau goes, not just in the short term, the next couple of years. I want to see where the city of Cape Girardeau is in 20 years. I'm excited for our future, and I think everybody should be too.
Well, I think that with the changes that we've seen over the past decade, it only gets better.
It does.
It only gets better from
it
here.
Does.
So great to chat with you.
Hey, it was wonderful chatting with you too.
Wish I lived in Ward 1.
Hey, we've got houses for sale. Come on up. Right. We've got some houses for sale.
Thanks, Dan. It was really great to talk to you. That's Dan Presson, Councilman for Ward 1 here in Cape Girardeau. On the way next, you'll get to know film director Thomas Magala. That's right here on Cape Chronicle.
Hi. Hoping for a crisp breeze to help keep you alert. Oh, he took a sip of water too. That'll probably help. You were probably going to turn down the radio too, so you could focus, right?
Probably okay isn't okay.
Right?
If you see a warning sign, stop and call a cab, a car, or a friend.
I think the water line is what really drove it home. I blew on him.
Being a dad is an adventure full of special moments.
A cruise!
Ride!
Unexpected moments.
I got this.
And even awkward moments.
Okay, Dad, thank you.
But every moment you spend with your kids, even the smallest moments, can make the biggest impact on your child's life. So take a moment to be a dad today.
Chronicle, and I'm Audrey Kane. Film director and 573 magazine editor and producer Thomas Magala is here to talk with us about the latest project, his latest project, Interviewing Monsters. Thank you so much for coming.
Thanks so much for having me. I bet you really, really like this job, surrounded by all these young, creative minds, right?
I do. It's fantastic because the university is amazing, and the city of Cape Girardeau is always so rich with things that are going on. And 573 magazine, I think, is a huge benefit to the city to highlight not only Cape Girardeau but Southeast Missouri, and you bring so much to this magazine. It's amazing.
I could live up to that.
Oh well, I was thumbing through this and looking at some of the photos and some of the people that are from Cape Girardeau, but then also the surrounding areas, and it's just it's full of your words.
Well, you know, we make, there's two versions, right? This is the Cape version, and then we have another version that's Farmington, St. Genevieve, and Festus.
No wonder this looks different than the last one I looked at.
Well, there you go. Because I mean, it's producing 2 magazines for each issue, and then we have the digital edition of the magazine that's interactive. So yeah, it's not a get-rich-quick scheme, but we really love doing it.
So how did you start doing this?
Well, actually, this is really funny because we're a marketing company first and foremost, and about 14 years ago, it was kind of started on a bet that we could start a business for $100 without spending more than $100, and that's how it all started.
Well,
the 573 magazine. So
it's obviously grown and become extremely popular. And there's something we were talking about this earlier. There's something about the tactile experience of a magazine itself, and the glossy pages, and the photography and the look. Just there's nothing like it.
All right. Well, you know what? And we talk about that all the time with my wife, who's the publisher of the magazine. But we talk about that all the time because we're like, wow, should we keep making this print version of the magazine? And I know for a fact, I mean, with so many subscribers, you know, for home delivery, it's like it would be impossible to stop. But I mean, people really like the magazine because there's no distractions. When you sit down with a hard copy magazine, and all you have is you turn the page. So there's no
pop-ups.
You know, there's no pop-ups. There's no ads. So, but I mean, people really like it. They collect it, and you know, we have a great time doing it. So
well, and it's unique to this area, and it's lovely. Did it lead you toward filmmaking, or was that something that you did before?
I shot my. This is going to be embarrassing because everybody's going to know how old I am. But I ran my first piece of 16mm film through a camera in 1989. So at the time, I was going to school in Atlanta, and I started shooting television commercials, and then I started doing a lot of music videos, and then we were working out of Nashville. And then I started shooting stills and videos of celebrities, and then we moved to Los Angeles, and we lived in New York, and then finally we came back here to stop everything.
Okay, now I understand how you got connected to the star of Interviewing Monsters.
Exactly, because I have, for years, for probably about 15 years, that's all we were doing is we were shooting celebrities. So I have a big pool of friends that I can get to. Not that I would all the time, but yeah. So we were able to get Tom Green and Les Stroud and Jesse Combs and in the film, which, by the way, I guess that's what we're here to talk about.
Well,
ideally,
that's sure. You're part of it, though. But but the film, Interviewing Monsters, really looks interesting. I know that you have some screening events coming up, some red carpet events coming up, and this is your opportunity to talk about that.
Yeah, May 6th here in Cape. There's going to be a premiere here in Cape at the theater. It's my second feature film that I made, and 10 years ago I swore I would never make another film, but after Gone Girl left town, I'm like, wow, I mean, Cape Girardeau is a perfect place to start a little film culture in the sense where if you can show Cape as a film-friendly place, instead of trying to get, you know, the $60 million films, if you get a bunch of $5 million films coming here, that's where you really make the money, because then they're spending straight up cash, unlike Gone Girl was like, you know, what can everybody do for free? So I came up with this idea, and we presented it to Brenda over at the tourism place, and then the also the chamber, and they gave us a little startup money, and we started the project. And it's all privately funded film, the film itself. And so basically what we did is we made a $5 million film for just around $450,000, and now it's starting to be distributed. It was just at the Hong Kong film market, which it did really, really well, and now it's off to the Cannes film market.
Well, it looks really interesting. Was it shot in this area?
Oh yeah. The city really helped. I mean, we shot a chase scene. There's a chase scene in the film that we spent no money on, and if we would have shot this in Los Angeles, it would have cost $500,000 or $1 million at least, and not even talking about what all the permits would cost. But the city of Cape got behind the project, and our promise to them was we would shoot as much as we could, in Cape Girardeau, and we would use as many local filmmakers and actors, and that's exactly what we did. I mean, outside of the bigger actors, I mean, we pretty much we made the whole film.
Well, do you think you'll
locally.
do another one?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Actually, we're
already starting to work on that. We're looking at the in the fall to start shooting it. But yeah, so it's going to be at the 573 Film Festival, which this year we're hosting in Perryville, and they have a 350 seat Warenberg Theater there that's just unbelievably nice. And that's going to be on June 7 to 9, and the film is going to premiere there, I think, at 7 o'clock on that Saturday. And then May 5th it will be here, and then we have the first red carpet event in St. Louis. That's going to be on April 13th. So, well,
it's fascinating to talk to you. We could talk a whole half an hour about this, but I look forward to the premiere. Thank you so much.
Okay.
For coming in.
By the way, it's www.interviewingmonsters.com.
Absolutely.
All right.
Go visit it. We've been talking with Thomas Magala. Thanks so much for your time,
Yeah.
and thank you for joining us today for Cape Chronicle. The program is a collaboration between the Department of Mass Media at Southeast Missouri State University and the City of Cape Girardeau. Our producer is Nicolette Brennan. Our executive producer is Dr. Jim Dufek. I'm Audrey Kane. Thanks for watching.